Hi, Coach. I hope you are doing well. How much means for the team the way Booker is handle the ball and control the game without Chris to protect the home court?
Well, without Chris, it was huge for us, especially in game one after having about a week off. We needed all the points and assists and the force that he played with. I thought it settled us a bit, and as the game progressed, we got stronger. We certainly needed when you don't have Chris out there on the floor managing the game. And like I said the other day, Devin did a good job of managing the game, closing out quarters, and that kind of thing. So we needed every point, every rebound, every assist. It's not something we take for granted.
Next up is going to be Dave McMenamin with ESPN, followed by Kellen Olson.
We'll set Dave Brent. Dave.
Oh, okay. I don't think we talked to you in depth after the game about the way you thought Cam Payne played the other night. He got that tech late, and I knew you kind of threw your head back a little bit. But generally speaking, I know he's not Chris Paul, but were you pleased with the minutes he gave and kind of the way he managed the game when he was in there?
Yeah, I thought when he came back in his second stint, he had settled down a little bit, and we've had conversations about him being him. Don't worry about being Chris. Like, we like what Cam brings to the table. Nobody can replace what Chris brings. But I thought as the game progressed, he settled in, took over the team. He didn't, defer to anyone. He started running the squad, and we're going to need that and more tonight.
Next up is going to be Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, followed by Cameron Buford.
Hey, Monty. With Cam Johnson and Mikal specifically, looking at them in .5, they played really well in game one with that. How did you see them just evolve in that over the 2 years, and how grateful are you for series like this that you got those 2 years with them to get that kind of system embedded in them?
Yeah, I think that's who they are, though. They're not guys that are going to get the ball and get into their mix and then try to beat you against the set defense. They tend to be guys that play in more go-catch type actions, and it does help having the continuity. 2 years probably isn't enough, but they've just gotten better. They're everyday guys. They're the guys we have to kind of kick out of the gym, and like I said, we're going to need that and more tonight, especially without Chris.
Next up is Cameron Buford with the LA News Observer, followed by Dan Woike.
Good afternoon, Monty. How are you doing?
Good.
Hey, would you talk about your relationship with Nate McMillan and how that's developed and what you've been able to pick up from him that helped you become a better coach?
Nate's he's my big brother. He has been since I coached under him in Portland back in 2005. I don't know how much more you can say. He's somebody that I look up to, I rely on for wisdom. We talk a ton. Our families have always been there for each other. I hired Pastor Mel, his son, to come work with us in New Orleans, partially because Jamel's smarter than both Nate and myself. And two, I just felt indebted to Nate for what he did for my career. The 5 years I spent in Portland shaped the way I view basketball in so many ways. And it was Pop who was the one who forced me, really pushed me to go work for Nate because of the respect you have for him. So I'm elated about his success. At the same time, I was also sad about Doc, not being able to go forward. That was a tough series to watch, but really happy for Nate. He's just a wise, I call him a plodder, because he just plods along every single day, working his tail off. And I always hear these people talk about the hardest working coaches in the league, and his name never comes up. And I've seen it for myself. He never takes a day off. It's amazing to see his work ethic.
Thank you, Coach.
Next up is Dan Woike with the LA Times, followed by Sam Amick.
Hey, Monty. With Chris's sort of status, are you confident that once he's cleared that you can just reinsert him? I know during the regular season you would maybe be a little more patient when a guy hasn't had court time in 2 weeks. Is sort of the general plan that when he's out, he's back? Is that kind of
we don't have the luxury of waiting on anybody right now. These games are so important. Every practice, every film session. We certainly will see where he's at when that time comes. But that's hard to make that judgment just because COVID is so different. You got COVID in the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's not COVID in the regular season. So it's hard to. But I'm sure if I try to keep Chris out of the game, he'd want to square off and go toe to toe. So we just make that assessment when the time comes. But he's engaged. Like I said, we talk every day about the team, about different ideas. We're watching playoff games. He'll bring up his coach. Did you see that? No, but I'm sure you did. So you tell me. He just has an unreal mind for the game.
Next up is Sam Amick with The Athletic, followed by Gina Mizell.
Good to see it. On that same relationship front, you've always had close connections with the players. You mentioned earlier that. The conversation around Ben Simmons in the wake of how that's been handled is pretty tough. I just kind of wonder how much of that got your attention.
Sad. Yeah. It is. It really is. I've been watching it and I'm just blown away that one player is getting that much flack. I spent a lot of time with Ben and care a lot about him. And, I watched him every day work on his game. I know how much he cares. And so to see this many people attacking him, I know his intentions. None of us are perfect in this. You know what I'm saying? And so when you watch this, it's just sad to watch. I'm close to his brother Liam, who's at Colorado coaching. And so I hope that Ben uses all of this as fuel to come back and set a lot of people up because what we do is hard. And we get a lot of criticism and everybody understands that, but what's happening right now is totally unfair and sad. Nah, that's the last thing he needs is another doofus like me calling him to try to cheer him up. He's a tough dude. I've seen him. I've been around him. The last thing you need in a moment like that is everybody going after you the way that this has happened. I've been watching it myself. I'm like you guys. I just think it's kind of sad.
Next up is Gina Mizell with Suns.com, followed by Law Murray.
The book has talked throughout the playoffs about in the offseason workouts that you're trying to visualize what the playoffs would be like, trying to stimulate what the playoffs would be like. It seems hard to do until you actually do it. But did you guys have conversations about maybe that in any way as far as, hey, that this is what it's going to feel like? Maybe try to stimulate that in some way. My question probably doesn't make sense. But yeah, did you guys talk about what that could be like to help them prepare as much as you can before you're actually in it?
I think the teams that we've had to play against, and because of the way our team was constructed, put him in a lot of situations that he's dealing with now. And it really helped us, especially the last month of the season. The crazy road trips we had and the high-level teams that we played against. He's seen all kinds of defenses. And when he and I talk, I try not to crowd his mind with too much stuff. I'll give him a reminder about what could be coming next. But great players, I don't know how you do that in the offseason, but great players do it. I mean, if you look at these documentaries of great players, that's what they do. They try to find an edge or paint a scenario, and they live in that world. I wasn't that good, so I have to get my cards out and write up stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's the extent of what I can do. He's just a really good player, and what he's doing is something that comes from a lot of work. And I know he wants more, and he'd be the first one to tell you, like, we won one game, we got to do more to win two, and I'm sure that's his mindset.
We have time for a few more. Next up is going to be Law Murray with the Athletic, followed by Dwayne Rankin.
I
I've heard you say before that the stability of the roster, like everybody for the most part coming in from the beginning of the season and being with the team throughout the year is really kind of fueled this year. And Cameron Johnson was praising Torrey Craig for how well they kind of helped the collection off the bench. Torrey is a guy who wasn't with the team at the beginning of the season. So what was that process for you of developing, not just the whole team, but especially those guys who off the bench, Torrey coming in and getting them ready to contribute when you're relatively short? Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of credit goes to the coaches that spend so much time with them away from the floor after practice, trying to get them acclimated. Everybody has an onboarding system. Every team does. So when you bring a guy like Torrey on, there's so many hours after practice, pre-practice to try to get a guy up to speed. I guess my part is to try not to get in their way, to let them flow in their gift. But the continuity certainly helps, because when you have guys that have been in the program for a couple of years, they help also. They bring the guys like Torrey along and show them like what we're trying to do, or explain something stupid that I just said and make them understand it a little bit better than I did. So it's not an easy process, but without your staff working a ton of extra hours, it doesn't work. And, all of our assistant coaches, especially Ricardo Foy, he comes back all hours of the night and spends time with the guys, getting up shots, watching film. That stuff certainly helps.
Got time for 3 more. Next is going to be Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic, and then Gerald Breguet.
Coach in the back, let's ask about the rotation that you went with game 1, each one getting minutes. How'd you like that? Just that look overall, the way that worked out.
It wasn't anything that I thought was great, but it wasn't bad. It was like what I expected after having a week off. Without having Chris, a lot of it is just the feel, for what the Clippers are doing and what we think we can do. So we'll just kind of try to feel it as we go along. It's hard to have a set rotation when you lose Chris and you get into foul trouble or whatever the case may be. So we'll just try to feel our way as we go along.
Final 2 questions are going to be Gerald Breguet with Fansided and Andrew Greif.
Hey, Coach, related question. With those backup guard minutes with Chris out, you've praised guys like Etuan and Langston for being ready all season long, even when their minutes have been up and down. What do you think of the job that Etuan did coming in, especially on this stage after not having played in a while?
I just think he's a solid player. He's got a lot of experience, and he thinks the game. Rarely is Etuan not in the right spot. And he's a guy that can play both positions. He knows how to facilitate the offense. Not afraid to take big shots. So it was an easier decision just because of his ability to keep his head right, which is who he is. And then the last game of the season against San Antonio, you got a chance to see what he can do, even when he hadn't played in a while. So I think, as we progress, it'll be even better.
Final question is going to be Andrew Greif with the LA Times.
The Clippers obviously when they get down, they've been pretty comfortable with the postseason running back. Whatever it is that allowed them to do that. Is that something you talk to your guys about, or how do you talk to your guys about preparing for that, expecting to see them something great when they get in this position? Think that like landing or action that they run or do they play?
No, I just think we've talked about it, but if I had to point to anything, it's top. He doesn't get enough credit for what he's done as a coach. He's won a championship. Look at the things that he has overcome as a coach, deficits, down 0-2s, down 3-1, like all that stuff is experience that I don't have. And you look at, the coaches around the league that get lauded for their ability to coach, you never hear his name. He's one of the best coaches in the league. And so I think his team relies on that toughness, and that's how he plays. So I think it goes right to Ty. You never see him get rattled in those situations, and I think their team feeds off of that. So we've talked about that a lot.